Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about AI agents.
Ooh, AI agents. Very timely.
Yeah. So we've got this really interesting article here from the World Economic Forum.
Okay.
It goes into what they are, why they matter, and you know what? Deloitte actually predicts that by 2027, half of all companies using generative AI will be using these AI agents.
Wow. That's a really bold prediction. So that's like, what, 3 years from now?
Yeah, practically right around the corner.
It really shows you just how quickly this technology is developing.
It is. I mean, just a couple of years ago, AI agents were mostly this kind of niche concept confined to labs. But now it seems like they're about to become a mainstream part of our lives,
Absolutely.
both at work and at home. And, I was thinking about that example from the article, the one with the car,
Yeah, I remember that one.
about how your car could automatically reroute you around traffic.
Right, and then suggest a lunch spot based on your preferences.
Exactly. That's the kind of seamless integration AI agents are promising. But before we get too excited about all that, maybe we should start by defining what an AI agent actually is.
Right.
Like, what makes it different from a simple chatbot, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think the article does a good job of breaking it down. Essentially, you can think of an AI agent as an autonomous system that can not only sense and respond to its environment, but actually learn and adapt to achieve certain goals with minimal human input. And that's a really key distinction.
So it's not just reacting to commands,
Correct.
it's actually making decisions based on its understanding of the situation.
Exactly. And its goals. Yeah.
Almost like a mini brain, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, an AI agent has these three main components. First, it has sensors, so it can perceive its environment.
So those are its eyes and ears, kind of.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Taking in information from the world around it.
Okay, so it's gathering data. Then what?
Well, then that data gets fed into a control center.
Which would be the brain.
You got it. That's where the AI magic happens, right?
Yeah.
The control center processes the information, analyzes it, and makes decisions based on its programming and its learned experiences.
So it's constantly learning and getting smarter.
That's the goal. And finally, the AI agent has what are called effectors. And these are the parts of the system that let it act on its decisions. So that could be, controlling a physical device.
Okay.
Or sending a message, or even performing a task in a virtual environment.
Gotcha. So it's this complete loop. It senses, it thinks, it acts. But I feel like this is still kind of abstract. Are there any real world examples of AI agents that are already out there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
companies like Microsoft, IBM, even OpenAI are investing heavily in AI agent development. And we're already starting to see some pretty impressive applications. There was one that really caught my eye in the article. It was OpenAI's operator agent.
Operator. What's that?
Well, think of it as like your supercharged personal assistant. So it's designed to handle a wide range of tasks. Things like coding and debugging software,
Wow.
booking travel arrangements, scheduling meetings, even composing emails.
Wait, it can actually write code.
It can.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's just one example, right? We're seeing AI agents being developed for all sorts of things, from personalized education to financial analysis, even healthcare diagnostics.
Okay, so we've got this incredibly powerful technology that could potentially automate all sorts of tasks and make our lives a lot easier.
Right.
But is there a catch? I mean, are there any downsides to all this AI autonomy?
Of course there are. I mean, no technology comes without its risks, and AI agents are no exception.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest concerns is the potential for errors or, unintended consequences. These systems are still under development, so they can make mistakes, especially when they encounter situations they haven't been trained for.
That makes sense. And I imagine there are ethical concerns too, especially when we're talking about AI agents making decisions that could impact people's lives.
You're right. That's a huge area of debate right now.
Yeah.
How do we ensure that these AI agents are making decisions that align with human values? And how do we prevent, bias from creeping into their algorithms?
Yeah.
These are all questions we really need to grapple with as AI agents become more sophisticated
Yeah.
and more integrated into our lives.
Yeah, it definitely is a lot to think about. I mean, on the one hand, you have this incredible potential to streamline tasks and make things more efficient, even solve really complex problems, right?
Absolutely.
But then on the other hand, there's, that potential for unintended consequences.
Right.
biases, ethical dilemmas. It's like we're really stepping into uncharted territory here.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. I mean, we're kind of like writing the rule book as we go along.
Right.
And that's exactly why it's so important to have these conversations now,
Yeah.
to really think critically about both the benefits and the risks of this technology.
Mm.
And then, to actually develop those safeguards that can ensure like responsible development.
For sure. And speaking of potential risks, I think one that keeps coming up is the impact on jobs.
Right.
I mean, if AI agents can already do things like code and write emails and even diagnose medical conditions, what does that mean for the future of work?
Right.
Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
Well, I don't think it's quite as dramatic as like robots taking over the world, but it's definitely true that AI agents are probably going to reshape the job market,
Yeah.
much like, previous technological revolutions have done.
Uh-huh.
Some jobs will inevitably become automated,
Right.
but I think a lot of new opportunities are going to emerge as well.
So it's not necessarily about job losses then, but more about like job transformation.
Exactly. It's about adapting to that changing landscape, acquiring new skills, and finding ways to collaborate with AI agents rather than compete with them.
Okay.
The key, I think, is to really understand how AI agents will impact specific industries and then prepare accordingly.
That makes sense. So let's say, like, I'm interested in a career in software development.
Okay.
How might AI agents change that field?
Well, we were talking earlier about agents like Operator that can already handle certain coding tasks.
Right.
This doesn't mean that human developers will become obsolete, of course, but it does mean that, like, their roles will probably shift.
Okay, so instead of like writing every line of code from scratch, maybe developers will focus more on designing these complex systems or like
Yeah.
overseeing AI agents and tackling the more creative challenges that really require human ingenuity.
Exactly. It's about leveraging AI agents to automate the like more routine aspects of development,
Uh-huh.
and then that frees up human developers to focus on the higher level tasks,
Yeah.
things that require creativity, problem solving, critical thinking.
So it's not about being replaced by AI, but more about learning to work alongside it and using it to enhance our own capabilities. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that principle actually applies to other industries as well. In finance, for instance, AI agents could like revolutionize things like fraud detection or risk assessment.
Right.
Instead of having to like manually sift through mountains of data, human analysts could work with AI agents to identify patterns,
Yeah.
anomalies, potential risks, and do it much more efficiently.
That sounds like a pretty big game changer for those institutions. And what about customer service? I feel like we're already interacting with chatbots all the time, but they're not always that helpful, are they?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, a lot of current chatbots are pretty limited in their ability to like really understand complex queries
Mhm.
or handle, really nuanced situations.
Yeah.
But I think AI agents have the potential to take customer service to a whole new level.
Okay.
Imagine like an AI agent that can actually understand the context of a customer's problem,
Wow.
empathize with their frustrations, and offer really personalized solutions in real time.
That would be incredible. No more like waiting on hold for hours or getting transferred from one department to another.
Exactly. AI agents could handle the more routine inquiries, and that would free up human representatives to deal with the more, complex or emotionally charged cases that really require a human touch.
Okay, so we've talked about software development, finance, customer service, but what about fields like education or healthcare? Those seem like areas where human interaction is pretty crucial.
You're right. Human interaction will always be essential in fields like that. But I still think that AI agents can play a really valuable role
Mhm.
in like augmenting human capabilities,
Yeah.
improving outcomes.
Yeah.
In education, for instance, AI agents could actually personalize the learning experience.
How so?
Well, think about it. They could provide tailored lessons, feedback, and support,
Oh, okay.
all based on an individual student's needs and learning styles.
That's pretty amazing. It's almost like having a personal tutor, like 24/7. But I could also see how that could raise some concerns, about data privacy.
Oh, for sure. That's a valid concern. And it really highlights the need for like robust ethical guidelines and data governance policies.
Right?
We need to make sure that AI agents are developed and deployed in a way that protects student privacy and ensures data security.
Okay, so we're talking about a delicate balance here between harnessing the power of AI, but also safeguarding privacy and taking those ethical considerations into account.
Exactly. It's a very complex landscape,
Yeah.
and there's no one-size-fits-all solution, right?
Yeah.
But I think that by engaging in open dialogue, exploring different perspectives, and really prioritizing responsible AI development, we can navigate this new era in a way that benefits everyone.
Absolutely. Now, that brings us to an important question. How can individuals prepare for this future of work where AI agents are going to be increasingly prevalent?
Well, I think the most crucial thing is to embrace lifelong learning.
Okay.
The skills that are in demand today might be, obsolete tomorrow. So people need to be really proactive in upskilling and reskilling themselves.
Yeah.
If they want to stay relevant in the job market.
So it's not just about acquiring knowledge then, it's about constantly updating your skill set and kind of staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And I would also encourage individuals to, you know, focus on developing those uniquely human skills,
Okay.
the skills that are really difficult for AI to replicate.
Like what?
Things like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving.
So those are the skills that will like really set us apart.
Absolutely. And those are going to be in high demand, as AI takes over more of those routine tasks. Businesses will be looking for individuals who can think outside the box, come up with innovative solutions, and navigate the complexities of, a rapidly changing world.
So it's about finding that synergy, I guess, between human and artificial intelligence,
Right.
leveraging AI strengths, but also highlighting our own unique abilities.
That's a great way to put it. And I also think businesses have a responsibility to prepare for this AI-driven future.
How so?
They need to invest in training programs to help their employees adapt to new technologies
Right.
and really acquire the skills they need to work effectively alongside those AI agents.
So it's a collective effort then. Individuals need to embrace lifelong learning. Businesses need to invest in training and upskilling their workforces. And we all need to engage in these conversations about responsible AI development.
Exactly. It's about creating a future where AI is actually enhancing human capabilities and empowering us to achieve greater things,
Yeah.
both individually and as a society.
This has been incredibly insightful. I feel like we've covered so much ground, but I also feel like we've just scratched the surface of this massive topic.
It's true. The world of AI is constantly evolving, and there's always more to learn and explore, but I think we've, laid a good foundation
Right.
for understanding what AI agents are, how they work, and the potential impact they could have,
Yeah.
on our lives and our world.
Absolutely. And I think we've also highlighted how important it is to approach this technology with both excitement and caution, with a focus on responsible development and a commitment to ensuring that AI actually benefits all of humanity.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I think there's one final aspect of the World Economic Forum article that deserves some attention.
Okay.
It really focuses on those broader societal implications of AI agent adoption.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. We've talked about the impact on jobs, but what about the impact on society as a whole?
Well, AI agents could potentially reshape not just how we work, but how we live,
Wow.
how we interact with each other, and even how we perceive our own humanity.
Whoa, that's a big statement. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Think about it. As AI agents become, more sophisticated, more integrated into our lives, they're going to inevitably influence our decisions, our preferences,
Yeah.
even our values.
So it's not just about AI doing tasks for us. It's about AI like shaping our thoughts and our behaviors.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have those conversations about the ethical implications of this, of AI agent development.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that AI agents are actually aligned with human values? How do we prevent them from perpetuating biases
Right.
or reinforcing existing inequalities?
It sounds like we need to be really mindful about how we design and deploy these AI agents.
Absolutely. And we also need to be aware of the potential unintended consequences.
Okay.
For example, if we start relying on AI agents to filter our news and information, we could end up in these echo chambers, only exposed to viewpoints that reinforce what we already believe.
That's a scary thought. Like we could lose the ability to think critically and engage in like meaningful dialogue with people who hold different perspectives.
Exactly. And there's also the risk of over-reliance.
Okay.
If we become too dependent on AI agents to make decisions for us, we might start to lose some of our own autonomy, our critical thinking skills.
It's like any powerful tool,
Yeah.
it can be used for good or bad. It all depends on how we wield it.
That's a great analogy. And that's why, again, it's so important to have these conversations about responsible AI development,
Right.
to ensure that we're using this technology to actually enhance human well-being and create a more equitable and just society.
I think that's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive, where we can explore some of these broader societal implications in more detail. Okay, so we've talked about how AI agents could really shake things up, not just in our jobs, but like in our lives as a whole.
Right. It's a pretty big concept to like wrap your head around.
It is.
And, the World Economic Forum article we've been looking at really doesn't shy away from those big questions.
Yeah,
It really dives into the societal implications,
right.
how AI agents might change, the way we live and interact,
Hmm.
and how we think about ourselves.
So let's zoom out a little. From the day-to-day stuff,
Okay.
what are the long-term things we should be considering?
Well, one of the most thought-provoking points the article makes is it's about how AI could actually reshape human values.
Okay.
Think about it. As we start relying more on AI agents to make decisions for us,
Uh-huh.
from what news we read to what products we buy,
Right.
those algorithms could start, like, subtly shaping our preferences in ways we don't even realize.
That is kind of unsettling when you think about it. Like, are we making the choices, or are the AI agents, like, nudging us in certain directions?
Exactly. And that ties into the whole issue of autonomy.
Okay.
If we get too comfortable letting AI agents handle everything, do we risk losing some of our own agency, our
Yeah.
critical thinking skills?
It's a bit like relying too heavily on, like, GPS navigation.
Oh, yeah.
You might get to your destination faster, but you might also lose the ability to, like, read a map or figure things out on your own.
That's a perfect analogy. It really highlights the importance of finding that balance.
Yeah.
We want to leverage the efficiency, the problem-solving capabilities of AI agents,
Uh-huh.
but, not at the expense of our own cognitive skills and independence.
The article also mentions the potential for increased inequality, too.
Right.
How could AI agents make those existing social and economic disparities even worse?
Well, that's a crucial concern. Access to this technology and the benefits it offers is probably going to be unevenly distributed,
Right.
at least initially.
Yeah.
So that means those who already have advantages in terms of wealth, education, access to technology, they might benefit disproportionately,
Yeah.
while others are left behind.
So it's not just about AI itself, but about making sure everyone has fair and equal access to it
Yeah.
and its benefits.
Exactly. We need to be, really mindful of the potential for AI to make things worse,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to take steps to mitigate those risks.
Yeah.
That could include things like promoting digital literacy,
Okay.
ensuring that technology is affordable, and designing AI systems that are fair and inclusive.
So it's a massive challenge, but it's something we have to address if we want AI to actually be a force for good.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's why the article emphasizes collaboration.
Okay.
We need people from all different fields.
Right.
Tech experts, ethicists, policymakers, everyday citizens
Yeah.
to work together to shape the future of AI. Make sure it's ethical, responsible, and benefits all of humanity.
So it's not just about building like cool technology, it's about having these important conversations,
Yeah.
thinking about the consequences, making sure everyone has a seat at the table.
Absolutely. And that's something we can all participate in.
Yeah.
Regardless of, our technical background.
Right.
We can all stay informed, engage in these discussions, advocate for policies that promote responsible AI.
So the future of AI isn't like set in stone. We have the power to shape it.
Exactly. Through our choices, our actions, our voices. And that brings us to the final thought we want to leave you with.
Okay.
As you go forward and continue to learn about AI,
Uh-huh.
ask yourself, what role do you want AI agents to play in your life, in your community, and in the world?
That's a great question for everyone to think about. Are you excited about the possibilities? Apprehensive about the risks? What steps can you take to make sure that AI is developed and used in a way that aligns with your values?
Remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about this technology, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this new landscape and shape it in a positive direction.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI agents.
Yeah,
It's been a fascinating exploration.
it has.
And we hope you've gained some valuable insights and new perspective on this rapidly evolving technology.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep learning.